Hi, everybody, and Happy New Year. Thanks for being with us on this 31st and very last day of December. And I'm pretty sure that's the very first time in 16 years that I have said that and been with you on a New Year's Eve. Now, we'll be off for the following 2 days and the rest of the week and see you back here on Monday for the first full week of 2015. We've got a great deal to discuss this evening. And instead of saying goodbye to this year of 2014, in some respect, we'll be paying our respect and saying goodbye to former Sagersville Mayor, longtime baseball coach, longtime friend, and community partner, Tim Bostic. We'll have more on his services and a few remarks from a few of his closest friends and much more. Also, there was a hearing today in Johnson County as it pertains to the lawsuit filed on behalf of Magoffin County Judge Executive candidate John Montgomery. As I told you on last update, the Honorable Kim Childers recused herself, and John David Preston, Circuit Judge in Johnson County, was appointed to the case. There was a hearing held earlier today, a motion to dismiss the case on behalf of Magoffin County Judge Executive Charles Harding through his attorneys. I'll tell you what happened with as much detail as possible in just a few moments. A couple of reminders real quickly. One that came in yesterday, and I shouldn't have needed a reminder, but I tell everyone, give me one whenever you can. But our friends Turning Ground are performing tonight at the Parkway Arts Center, which is just across from the Dairy Queen and behind the Shell Mart there. 7 to 9 is their show. There might be another show following. I'm not quite for certain about that at all, but you may have seen several weeks ago when we spoke with two parts of Turning Ground, and they were telling us about the show that there may be some other entertainment as well. But I do know they're performing tonight, 7 to 9. So if you're catching the early show, you've got time to catch some of their show. And also one more reminder that the Rumpke garbage collection service in Magoffin County will not be running tomorrow. Thursday's garbage collection will be Friday. Fridays will be Saturday here in Magoffin County. Our top headlines and stories, the last of 2014, as hard as that is to say, are coming right up after a few words from a couple of our sponsors, which have something really tasty and special for you this New Year's Day. There was a hearing in Johnson County in Circuit Court earlier this morning. It relates to a Magoffin County case, that being the case filed by Magoffin County Judge Executive candidate Republican John Montgomery, alleging several improprieties, irregularities, and election fraud during this past November election, requesting that a serious number of votes be discounted and that he be awarded the winner of that election. Now, while this hearing this morning was in Johnson County before Judge John David Preston, who has been appointed to the case after the Honorable Kim Childers recused herself, we know several things, including the fact that it appears as though any future hearings and or possible trial dates will be taking place back here in Magoffin County. However, we ask that you keep in mind that could change. We had a representative speak with Judge Preston's secretary earlier today, just before closing of the court office, and they indicated that the file would be staying in Magoffin County after this morning's hearing. Once again, that is not a certainty, but it appears to be the case, at least at this time. We can confirm, though, today that after attorneys on behalf of Charles Harding were present, they requested a motion to dismiss the case based on a lack of evidence. That motion was considered by Judge Preston and then thrown out and dismissed, citing that there was enough evidence in the case to proceed. A court date has tentatively been set right now for 3 days, beginning on February the 2nd. This is going to be a bench trial. It will not be a jury trial, but a case which will be heard by John David Preston. Once again, attorneys on behalf of Judge Executive Harding brought a motion for dismissal, citing lack of evidence. That motion was denied, citing that there was ample evidence to bring this to a trial, a bench trial set for the 1st of February, the first week of February on the 2nd. The depositions could start as early as next week. I'll be keeping you up to date. Now let's keep you up to date with tonight's Magoffin County Farm Bureau-sponsored community calendar. And sadly, tonight's calendar starts off with a broken-hearted little boy that we're hoping you can help. The bigger yellow dog to the left is missing, and he's actually bigger than this picture indicates. The picture was taken a little while back. But this dog belongs to a little boy that is simply devastated. The pet missing from the board tree area on Route 30 has been gone now for a short time, and they're asking for some public help out there to help get him back home and to his lost little boy. 349-6644 or 349-3363 are a couple of numbers you can call. a lost pet in the Board Tree area on Route 30. 349-6644, 349-3363. The pet to the left, which is actually a little bigger now than since when this picture was taken. If you can help, they would certainly appreciate your call. And one birthday wish this last day of the year. It's a happy 11th birthday to Autumn Combs with a lot of love from Dad Chris, Mama Peggy, Jill, Jerica, and Mackenzie. Happy birthday to you. She's 11 and she's Autumn Combs. Happy birthday. And not surprisingly, a relatively brief community calendar tonight. Night watch services are taking place. It says tomorrow at 8. That's obviously incorrect. Just a quick reminder if you're watching the early show that night watch services begin at 8 and continue throughout the evening at the Kearney Free Will Baptist Church. And this is your invitation to join them. If you have no other plans this New Year's Eve or would like to join them, they'd love to have you. They also asked me to remind you that they're picking and grinning this Saturday at 7, all at the Kearney Free Will Baptist Church. And as we get ready to start off what will hopefully be a bright new year for all, we want to include your community calendar announcements as well in our programming. And that includes birthdays and anniversaries and the like. They're always free, always have been. This is how you get them on the show, and they're always the best way to let everyone know what you've got planned. We'll have some personal information on the passing of Tim Bostic in just a few moments. Right now, the latest funeral services, as have been said at the Montgomery County Funeral Home. 69-year-old Timothy Clyde Bostic of Lexington passed away on the 28th, formerly of Montgomery County. He was married to Carol Ann Bostic, who survives, as well as 2 sons, Jonathan Brett and Timothy Tyler Bostic, and 7 daughters, Pamela Serrato, Leanne Bostic, and Amy Carol Bratton, Mary Jane Bostic, Jocelyn Bostic, Sarah Gibbs, and Megan Page Bostic. Visitation has been set for this Friday after 5 and prior to services, which are going to start Saturday at 1 o'clock. Visitation and services will be from the Montgomery County Funeral Home, and the family tells me that burial will follow services at the Earl May Cemetery in Sayersville. And one last announcement this evening, and it comes in loving memory of Dean Gibson. Born January the 1st of 35, passed away December the 27th of 2011. Sadly missed by his wife, children, family, and friends. I won't be following the regular flow of things for the final portion of the program tonight and bring you now the Licking Valley RECC forecast for tonight, New Year's Day, and a bit beyond, which has a bit of everything in store, including temperatures which fluctuate, for daytime highs that is, between 29 and 53 degrees. All that with a few wintry hits, and we'll say, well, I don't want to tag wintry to them all because one of them is going to be a rainmaker, I think, for everyone in the viewing area. We started off at 16 on this New Year's Eve, topped out at 36. We're falling back down to right around 11 degrees tonight under very clear skies, along with a west-southwest wind at 3 to 5 miles per hour. It's going to be a cold changeover from 2014 to 15 without a doubt, but it's going to be a clear and dry one. That's also without a doubt. New Year's Day, we look to see the sunshine return, as we also do temperatures which will push near the 40-degree mark. There it is, first day of 2015, 38 degrees, a low of 27, sunny. We'll see clear skies throughout much of the day. We'll see some increasing clouds late tomorrow night. There will be clouds, but they won't be producing anything tomorrow night. We will see that cloud cover continue to hang around on into your Friday. Cloudy skies and a high, once again, right around, if not right at the 40-degree mark. A low of 34 Friday night, which puts us above the threshold where this first batch of precipitation in the forecast comes through. Mainly a 50% chance of rain, mainly after 9 o'clock Friday night. Into your Saturday, we should stay above the freezing mark, and it should stay an all-rain event. Could be just a tad bit of mix here and there during the changeover, but for the most part, I think it's going to be all rain, and it's going to be all rain all day Saturday for the most part. We'll see 53 degrees, cloudy skies, and rain likely. Showers continuing throughout Saturday evening, and maybe up until about 4 a.m. technically on Sunday morning, if not just a short time thereafter. Speaking of Sunday, warm air continues to build. 53 degrees again, mostly cloudy skies. The nighttime low will dip back below freezing on Sunday night, but by that time, as I'm trying to say, the precipitation should be gone. So I don't see any snow in the mix for us on this one. That could come a little later on into the first week of 2015. So Sunday, 53, a low of 25. First week of next week, the first full week of 2015, sunny and 35 for daytime highs. Clear, only partly cloudy skies late Monday night, lows well below freezing, but no precipitation in the forecast. That comes in on Tuesday with a build-in of about 20% chance of showers. We'll see close to 40 degrees on your Tuesday. This is going to be just before the bottom drops out again. 40, partly sunny, 20% chance of some showers. And that night, 22, with a chance of precipitation, we'll see a slight chance of some rain and or snow showers. It will be short-lived. What won't be behind that will be cold temperatures. And right now I've got well below freezing for daytime highs on your Wednesday, 29 degrees. That could be the first of a significant run of some Arctic air that could push in here and then stick around. Winter's coming. I don't know when, not exactly sure where, but it's coming. In the forecast. I know where. In the forecast. We'll talk more about it next week. But for now, we've got just a couple of messages real quickly before we wrap up tonight's programming with a special tribute to a special person who has really touched a lot of lives in and around Sagersville and certainly outside of the viewing area. It's back, and it's only one day out of the entire year, the annual New Year's Day half-off +1 sale at your Sagersville Dairy Queen, where everything all day long, open till close, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., except for our ice cream cakes, is half off. Eat all day long, half off at your Sagersville Dairy Queen. +1. With every order, we'll add $1 to your ticket and donate it directly to the McGoffin County Rescue Squad. That's half off +1 all day long, 6A to 10P, New Year's Day from your Sagersville Dairy Queen. Happy New Year! Whether you're ringing in the new year, partying, or ball gaming this New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, your Sagersville Lee's Famous Recipe has a New Year's special just for you with this awesome party platter. It gets you 20 crispy buffalo wings, 20 hot and spicy wings, 4 jalapeno poppers, 7 deep-fried pickles, 7 big all-white chicken strips, 5 cheese sticks, and 10 all-white double dippers for just $34.99. It's a feast for the whole gang. And if you come in and pay the day before, you can take $5 off of that. It's a great deal either way, and it's only for 2 days. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day at your Sagersville Lee's Famous Recipe. Get your party platter to go. For the final part of the program tonight, instead of taking a look back and saying goodbye to 2014, which is just a few moments from officially being history, sadly we're saying goodbye tonight to a longtime business and community leader of Sagersville. First off, let me say that this story has taken a bit of a different turn in some regards since planning it last night and this morning. The several individuals who expressed interest in speaking to us on camera tonight. By 9 o'clock this morning, one had tested positive for the flu, one walking pneumonia, and the other one, I believe, some flu-like symptoms. So it's with their apologies and mine that we weren't able to include their statements tonight. And some folks were just simply so close to Tim Bostic that they just couldn't emotionally go through it on camera at this time, and we certainly understand that. But that's not to say that the following report doesn't paint a picture of the individual that Tim Bostic was. And for everyone who knew him, you also know that there's perhaps no way to actually paint a picture as colorful as Tim was. In fact, I've literally wrestled with this report for a few hours today, more than a few, actually for several hours today, and I don't think that all these folks speaking or countless others who knew him so closely could take each an hour individually and still feel satisfied with relaying Tim's persona. My history with Tim Bostic actually goes back to when I was a very small boy. I can recall over at Granny Frida's and Pepaw Henry's across the street, my first pet was a little black and white kitten that we named Percy that we coaxed out from under a vehicle in Tim Bostic's driveway. His family had lived there for some time and grew up there, and me spending a lot of time over there, well, it was pretty much like family, certainly more than neighbors just across the street for most of my life. He never met a face, he never heard a joke, either one, that he didn't remember. Tim was not born here and he didn't die here, but he will be remembered and laid to rest here because he's always professed Sagersville to be the very best place on earth. Born in Belfry, he devoted much of his life to the people of Sagersville and Magoffin County, and those who may have moved away or worked away, or relatives of locals, by keeping them all in the loop with weekly publishings of the Independent. He spent about 35 years at the paper, penned thousands of thoughts, and shared thousands of stories. He served as Sagersville's mayor from January of '78 through December of '85. During those terms, as the city's lead official, he brought beginnings of future growth in community and infrastructure. He saw the importance of the Joint Housing Authority, the Sagersville Waterworks, and he was here for the birth of the Ramey Memorial Park, where he would spend many years coaching baseball, another one of his legacies. For at least 17 years, he gave of himself to high school baseball, but more important, he gave of himself for the kids. Alton Huff, who worked and played along Tim, said, quote, he was the fan of the underdog, especially a child who someone else may have not thought as much of. And to me, that was his biggest legacy.
I've traveled with Tim since I was in 5th grade. 5th and 6th grade, we wasn't really much allowed to play. I played a little bit in 6th grade, but I started for the high school team in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. He's one of the best fellas you ever been around in your life. He gave you a chance. He wanted you to play. He wanted you to do your job. He'd brag on you when you did something good, and he'd get on to you when you did something bad. I was either in 5th or 6th grade, I can't remember exactly. That's when the field was over the hill behind where the middle school used to be. And we was playing, and Tim was coaching third. He gave a steal sign, and the player first missed it. After the next pitch, he gave a steal sign again. The player missed it. About this time, Tim was getting pretty mad, so Tim walks in the dugout, takes a pizza box, tears the top off of it, writes steal on it. Holds it up. I mean, everybody can see it, even the pitcher, catcher, everybody. Well, next pitch, the boy steals from first to second, and on the pitch, the guy hit a fly ball. Well, the player around second base coming towards third, and Tim hollering to him, get back, get back. Instead of him going back, tipping second base and going back to first, he just cuts right across the pitching rubber. Tim just easily just walks in, sits down in the dugout. Don't say a word.
While serving as the owner and editor of the Sagersville Independent and Sagersville's mayor are two parts of the legacy that Tim leaves behind, well, they most certainly aren't the only ones. He was also the editor for the Williamson Daily News, sports editor for the Big Sandy News, Pike County Judge Executive Assistant, member of the Pike County Board of Education, and that list indeed does go on.
I was terribly sorry to hear the passing of Tim Bostic. He was my buddy. He was a mentor, like he was to a lot of young men in our town. If you got all the guys together who were Tim's guys, Tim's boys, it'd be half the men in town. Greg Stacy mentioned something the other day. He said, he was like a second father to a lot of us. That says a lot about a man right there, that many young men would consider him a father figure. He was just an excellent role model. He was always in good humor. He was always positive and uplifting when he talked to you. Tim never had a lot of bad news. He wanted to find good news. His generosity, his creativity, all these things went into making him just the kind of person he was. That outsized personality, the big laugh, the cackle he had when he got really tickled about something. Just a good man, and boy, I'm going to miss him. He was a big dog to us.
The first time basically I come acquainted with Tim Bostic was when I was a senior in high school, and on the basketball team I was the manager and also some scorekeeping. And he had just moved in and bought the Independent sometime earlier prior to the 67 season. And then the 71 trip to the Derby, was very fortunate that we went together, and it was quite a trip, and I tell you down on our back.
And that trip to the Derby, to the infield, if you've ever been there, you kind of can understand what that story might have been like. But it, like so many other of life's experiences, made the Saggersville Independent. In his scanning the scene, he often wrote very descriptively and colorfully about himself, his friends, and his community that he held so dear. And holding back on any of the details wasn't really his thing.
I can remember the last time I saw him, really talked to him, was during Community Day, and standing there talking to him, just talking about old times. And during that time when he was sitting there, you would have thought he was a hero, because, and to a lot of people he is. People surrounded him the whole night.
And Tim, you were really a person that influenced my life a little something, and so I'm very grateful that you came to Saggersville, helped Saggersville get on a track to progressiveness and to be a part of my life, and I want to thank you for that. And without that, somewhere I would be missing a void, and I will be missing a void now that's missing you.
I'll say this before I leave. I never was too shy about talking, okay? When I was elected mayor here, I had the privilege of being elected president of the Kentucky Municipal League. And I'd go around to different towns and I'd talk, and I was leaving this message. If you have doubt, any doubt at all about going to heaven, make reservations to come to Saggersville. Okay? You got it. It's the next best place, I tell you. I've been here and done that, and I know, okay?
And Tim wasn't just talking when he said that, and he said that a lot, wherever he traveled, in front of whoever he was with. He survived, as we said in funeral service announcements a few moments ago, by his wife, Carol Ann, a beloved role model to 7 daughters, 2 sons, 8 grandkids, 3 great-grandkids, 3 sisters, and undoubtedly a community of extended family and friends who he has touched and left a forever impression on, either if you spend a little time with Tim or a lot. And with that, just a couple of things in closing this report. If you so choose, you can make donations to the Tim Bostic Memorial Fund through the McGoffin County Funeral Home, who is handling arrangements. And if I may, I would like to borrow a line, one forever synonymous with the man behind it, a line which has been said a great deal this week. Enough said. And lastly, in closing tonight, this is another one of the many moments that I have on this program where a little extra time throughout the day, another 5 to 6 hours put on the clock, would really do me some good and justice, and as to where I would like to have some time to sit down and pen a few thoughts on looking back at 2014 here on our behalf at Your News Today. It was our 16th year, the beginning of our 16th year as of November the 2nd, and this year perhaps has seen more changes and more news and more growth here at Your News Today than maybe in our history. All I can do tonight is promise to you our continued commitment to bring you more real, honest, local news as we have for the past 16 years, and that we will forever and always be grateful for your continued commitment as our viewers and our partners in our community, as well as forever grateful for that support of our sponsors. With that said, thank you so much for being a part of this program. We sincerely hope you have a wonderful and, above all, safe and joyous New Year, and we'll see you back here the first Monday of 2015. Good night.